Chat, I'm be honest. Skirk has been very annoying for me to summon for. This character does not want to come home. I'm probably closing in on 80 pity. I don't really, like, are you here? Finally. Finally. Bro. Oh, that's so good. Okay, though. We are at C2 finally. Finally. Okay, so the first one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test out her normal attacks, and then it'll cut to me using her normal attacks at C2. So you guys, you won't have to wait to see. But at the very end, we're gonna do the hybrid playstyle, which is absolutely gonna demolish anything that, you know, Skirk can go ahead and do here. Now, one thing we can talk about is that I'm gonna be using this artifact set the entire time because my MH is that bad. So yeah, it's not great, but it's what I gotta do. So we're gonna be honestly hindered from our C2 performance since, you know, we're going to be using, not choosing which one to use. We're going to be using both for that hybrid build. And yeah, I still think it's going to be better. Okay, here we are. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that, well, we're fine. Yep, should be around the same of what we've been doing the entire time before that. And we'll go ahead, dodge, and we'll do this, and good. We have all that stuff going on now. We'll keep going, and give me 2 stacks, hold charge, and then we'll keep attacking, and we're done. All right, yeah, I think we're done. I'm pretty sure we got a correct rotation there. I hope he didn't start shaking his booty before we, you know, actually had everything done there. We'll probably be fine. I'm hoping so. So now you guys are gonna see the C2 version. Okay, it is time to C2 my Skirk. Let's get it going. I am very excited for this. Let's go. Sweet. It is one of the benefits of using Skirk and, you know, at C2 is that you get to see her burst animation now. You like, there's no issues. You just get to see her burst animation now, which is going to be super sick. Okay, so we're seeing like 90s and stuff, and then 140, 200,000. I mean, I guess I wouldn't have seen that before, but yeah, maybe it's because I'm not using MH. I know that definitely is more. Okay, that definitely is more. I feel like yeah, very much so more. I don't know how much more, honestly. I was expecting it to be more, but it wasn't more. But the big thing with this is the burst rotation, which we are now going to go ahead and test out. All right, so we're using burst Skirk here. So let's hold the E skill there. Then we're going to go ahead and do a rotation here. Now, burst Skirk is a little weird because you can either consider it done once we've done the burst, right? You know, the whole thing. Or you could consider it done once we've, you know, gone ahead and we did all our normals afterwards and, you know, did this. It depends purely what you want to say. It's up to you guys, because I mean, to me, I think if you're doing a burst build like this, it really should be something where, okay, yeah, and then, because like, look at this, all of our buffs are basically gone at that point. Like, sure, our total, you know, team damage did more, but I guarantee that was probably like a 30-second rotation or something, right? That was an insanely long rotation because you're sat there and you're waiting for her hold E skill cooldown. So I guess it's 8 seconds for the hold skill. You're using the burst, so that brings it down to sort of like 6 to 5 seconds, right? And then you're waiting on that. But then if you're using all of your 7-phase slash mode, splash, whatever it is, 12.5 seconds. So that's like 17 seconds just on field with Skirk. And that's just, you know, Furina's like, her buff is gone, bro. Like, a higher total damage, chat, but not necessarily better actually what you're ever going to use, right? So it depends on the situation, obviously, which one's going to be more useful. I'm just going to count the total damage, you know, sure, whatever. I typically do that, I guess. Although I'm thinking that, you know, judging by what we saw, that was very close to what we were looking at, but it's purely, you know, it's like 30-second rotation, chat. When I'm actually editing, I might check how much time that took and, you know, put it into a numerical thing. So yeah, I really do want to try and get this done, but it's not really seemingly possible because this guy keeps wanting to not die. So yeah, 320, 340 at the very end there, I think. And then, okay, well, that sucks. I'm gonna need my Miss Coffee to heal me. That would be very nice of her if she did that. And then we're gonna go ahead and do this. All right, give me another. All right, and we are very close. And yeah, we saw that. Yeah, I don't really even know if we did that. Like, we can see there is a damage increase. I think there was just some sort of mess up there. What I'm gonna do is I'll go ahead and I will, just look at the damage numbers from the previous burst and then the next burst, and I'll just be like, that's it. That is the damage difference. Here's the damage difference between the two, because it is impossible for me to see how the damage difference actually is, because I don't know why that didn't kill. It should have. I really don't know. I think it's just purely out of luck, and I've done over 10 runs trying to get that rotation, and it's just the capybara along with all that other stuff. It really it hinders you a lot. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the hybrid rotation, which is gonna be very strong. Honestly, it is, because all you're doing is adding her Q skill to Skirk's normal idea. Now again though, you do have the MH set you could use, and that'd be an even bigger increase, because then your normals would start getting a power increase on top of the burst, so it would be better overall, while your peaks won't be as high. All right, I have had quite a bit of trouble honestly trying to do this rotation. I really thought it'd be better, but it should be better. We did get hit there, so that's gonna give a decent boost to our thing, and then we're gonna have this, and yeah, okay, we're looking good. Okay, we're on track to do well here. We are on track to do well here. Let's keep it going. This should deal around 500 or 5 million damage. I can't get it to do 5 million damage. Wow, what? That's weird. So yeah, do I regret C2, man? That already is a question I have to ask, because one, C2, it's adding you guys saw 150,000 hits, right? So this is 150,000 hits, not 200,000. 200,000 is a big deal here, because that's 250 less thousand than I thought I was gonna have here, and then you'd have the final slash. Now, to be fair, I do still have to level this up, right? This can still be leveled up. If I get 3 within the next boss run that I do, that is a maxed out burst, and we're gonna be good. We're gonna maybe see some decent damage. However, also we do have this issue, right? So actually, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the artifacts, since we're in that issue of we gotta see. I want to make sure that I cover my ground and I see what the hybrid rotation has to offer truly, because we are losing a decent chunk of buff. Let's be real here. We're losing a decent chunk of buff once we lose that 60% damage bonus due to using our burst. Okay, here we go, going up to the guy. All right, sweet. Let's go ahead, do this. Will hold Shenhe's E skill, and then we'll pop our Q, and then we pop our girl's Q with that. 120. However, now we have a buff here, which yeah, we'll see. I'm not so yeah, man, if I had a proper MH build, I think I could do this, but yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I think that's the issue. I don't have a proper MH build, right? So that's the thing. So by proper MH build, by the way, I mean I am so far over on my crit rate that I don't need half of it, right? I was basically able to do equal damage to her other artifact set, but I'm severely hindered, because the entire purpose of this artifact set is to give you crit damage, basically. Well, although it does give you crit rate, the real reason is crit damage, so you can increase your damage, and it worked completely flawlessly. The crit rate, I am over, what is my total overage of crit rate? I think it's over 20% crit rate, right? You can easily take that 20% and be go to the crit damage, and that's 40% crit damage easily, and that immediately would then put us in killing of capybara range. So honestly, it's certainly interesting. I am very surprised that it's not that strong, although again, talent levels again. I feel like C2 Skirk was it's an overrated constellation. Maybe I just really am bummy about I didn't get basically 1 million damage added to my normal rotation, right? I don't know, man. I feel like I was expecting oh yeah, 1 million damage added to my rotation. Maybe with this I'll eventually get to that, but I mean, you guys saw her burst did 120,000 at that point. With MH it did 120, so I'm not expecting this to be super huge. I don't know, maybe I'm too salty, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm right, I don't know, but yeah, this also took me way too long to get, right? So I have an idea, chat. Honestly, very disappointed in Skirk's, constellation, right? I've had some time to think about it, and I am very disappointed in it. However, I just realized there's a few things that you may be able to pull off that may be able to sort of get their way into working out. So let's go ahead with this. I'd love to maybe get some energy for Shenhe here. And all right, so what we're gonna be doing here, chat, is we're gonna use Skirk's hold E skill after there's a Void Rift on the field. That should allow us to gain a lot more serpent stacks for the burst, and the burst is going to do very well. Now, you can actually do this at C0, so interesting. I don't know if people, you know, just didn't want to do this or something. Very cautious, I would say, at this point with how C2 is functioning. I really feel like it's kind of a dud. I really thought it would be more damage, but let's go ahead. What we need to do is we need to do a freeze reaction. Now, if you're using Furina on a team where it's like, you know, all right, we're gonna hold, and then we're gonna hold you, and then this, and then we have this, and then we have this. So now we see 200,000. Now, you do end up seeing a little bit of a delay there, but we should see some pretty crazy numbers beyond that. Come on, and there you go. Yep, I think that is the code. I think that is what we're looking for. So that's interesting, right? And that was on my MH build, which we've already discussed, seems to be around the same damage level of the other artifact, even though it has lesser damage overall. So interesting. And, you know, as we saw there, the burst did do 1,000,000 damage. I think this is pretty good because it keeps the rotation time, I think, down by a decent bit, right? Like the rotation time, you know, like you're starting at, like the rotation time isn't that bad because you immediately are able to do these things. Wait, hold on. I have an idea. Hold on. There's a little bit of a, because you immediately start the rotation with that hold E skill, right? No matter what, you're doing the hold E skill during the rotation, right? I consider that, you know, going up to the, you know, enemy boss a part of the rotation for Skirk. Whether you do or not, I don't really care. I do, because that is a part of, you know, gaining the strength of Skirk. So therefore, I consider it a part of the setup. So that is what I consider there. You know, other characters, sure, there's a little bit of a, well, you go up to the boss for other characters, but you can also, you know, set up before you reach the boss or have the enemy come to you, right? So I have another idea of what we can do, right? We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead, and I think what I'll do is this. We're gonna E skill with you. We're gonna hold, yeah, and then we're gonna pop a Q. Then we're gonna E. Oh, that's not what I wanted. But we do get to come down here, and we see that damage numbers, and we're immediately able to do this charge attack, boom, and we're cooking. Yeah. I think this is the better Skirk rotation at this point. Yeah, seems to be, you know, the case. And yeah, we did mess up a little bit there. We would definitely want the 15%, you know, normal attack damage bonus, because, you know, once you've reached that point of like, oh, you're now using Skirk with the normal attack stuff. I feel like all of her playstyles are insanely close at C2. I was hoping really that the hybrid build would be very much so far and away better, but it doesn't seem like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's a little bit of a fix that you may be able to do. Just wait until there's one Void Rift on the field, then you gain it. Because, listen, a Void Rift alone is giving so much damage to this thing. I mean, we're talking about, I was going from, what? Like, what did I hit on MH? I think it was like 120,000. And now, after waiting for a Void Rift to be on field, I'm now at 200,000. Simply because I did that, right? So, Void Rifts are insane. They are. And they only gain more value once you keep leveling this up. Yeah, I'm absolutely going to have to say that this is the better way to play this rotation. I think you do really want to miss Coffee, you know, Furina, and then you have a little bit of a downtime, but it's such a small little bit that I don't think it matters. The only issue that I can see arise is that Miss Coffee and Furina, obviously, their durations are gonna end up suffering. It's a really weird balance. I don't like it. I don't. I like my characters being straightforward. This character, there is a straightforward way to play her, which is just, you know, hold E skill at the beginning and then do your rotation. But that's not good. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I feel like it's really annoying. So yeah, because I have used C6 Skirk, and I was expecting not something similar to that effect, but something that I could sort of look at and be like, oh yeah, so this is the precursor. This doesn't feel like the precursor to C6 Skirk. It really doesn't. I don't know why. I think its damage numbers are just too low on the burst, right? I think that's the main issue. The damage numbers are too low on the burst. And the reason for that being is because, well, you basically don't really get that at all. Like, you don't get the ability to use the burst. Like, you can do this, and then you can hold it again once you get into your rotation, but then it becomes the same issue of, like, then you have to wait for your normals. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.